Now then, are you quite comfortable? Very good. Fair warning. Mine is not a short or simple story. And I haven't told it in a long time, so do excuse me if... Goodness. Oh, this is very hard. Do excuse me if at any point this all seems too much. I will try to keep it as simple as I can. Indeed. Why am I telling you all this? Because, young hero, we may not agree on the appropriate use of magic in warfare, or even on the appropriate use of my personal magic. But you were right about one thing. I am doing a disservice to you, and many like you, by staying hidden away like this. And perhaps it's a disservice to myself as well. Oh, don't try to backtrack on your words now. You're not wrong. My powers in enchantment and destruction with shadowmancy are rather significant. And although there is a great deal you do not know, you were right in believing I could help you in your mission. I can't deny that you have a good heart. And I believe you truly want peace restored for all. So, I will explain myself, and explain why I can never be a part of that fight for peace. Now then, where to begin? I was born along the western coast, into one of the noble families that fled when this war encroached on their land. Yes, that would put us at about the same age. Are you surprised? Oh, goodness, such a blush. It's fine. I don't think you're being rude. I'm well aware I appear older than I truly am, and I assure you that is very intentional. Now, as I said, I was born third in a family of 5 girls, all of whom seemed to have remarkable gifts and abilities. My eldest sister was a brilliant girl, witty and so skilled in logic and debate that our parents would often invite world-famous tutors and teachers to dinner just to meet this young genius. The second oldest was a musical prodigy, mastering most of the instruments in our house by the time I was born. Our parents often let her stay up late to sing and play for the guests at the many dinner parties they threw. She had a way with song that could charm even the cruelest of hearts. The twins were only a year younger than I, and it did not take long before it was clear both had a remarkable intelligence and beauty. Which, of course, left me. I suppose you could say I left much to be desired. I was a quiet sort of girl, very little to say, and while I was polite, I certainly never showed signs of genius or promise. By the time I turned 16, it seemed I would remain quite plain and ordinary in comparison with my sisters. My parents were disappointed, of course, but honestly, I think they were amused by the whole situation, and perhaps pitied me a bit more than a girl at my age should be. That is until everything changed and I became quite useful to them. Well, useful in the sense that I manifested a very useful talent. Magic isn't like other giftings, you see. It doesn't always reveal itself right away. But when I came of age, I suddenly discovered an extraordinary understanding for, well, I suppose, energy? Or life force, if you prefer. The kind of force that defines each person, and, more importantly, the best ways to preserve and nurture that force. It's hard to explain even now, even after the many books and scrolls I've studied. It started gradually. I could tell when a horse in our stable was ill. I was able to identify what was wrong with my sister's kitten when it stopped eating. And one night, my grandmother came down with a dreadful chill and cough. Our family doctor was at a loss, but I could see the sickness inside her, like a small army attacking her lungs. All at once something clicked, and the language of healing and the power behind it made sense to me. Of course, I had no idea how to use it, but between the doctor and I, we were able to save her. Oh, yes. I was immediately enrolled in one of the highest-ranking schools money could buy, and I soon surpassed my classmates. In a little less than a year, I went from unremarkable to the most promising magical healer in the kingdom. I was taken on as an apprentice to one of the king's head physicians, and after I exhausted his tutelage, I was taken on as an assistant to the most powerful sorcerer in the king's inner circle. Ah, you are familiar with him, I see. Yes, he was a cruel-hearted and despicable man, but also deceptively charming and generous to those he thought useful. It was under his guidance I learned to not only sense the force of life around me, I learned to change it, to manipulate it. And together we set out to create a new way of healing, a new way of ensuring safety and well-being for all people. Oh, the hours I spent over ancient scrolls and notes and histories, the mad experiments we underwent. It was exhilarating to know that all our hard work and sacrifice would change the world. And it all seemed worth it when we approached the king with our new discoveries. We began with the army. New spells and elixirs that would make the soldiers stronger, less vulnerable, more precise in action. It wasn't until much later, when the men stopped coming home, that the whispers began. Brainwashing. Lost memories of family and friends. Soldiers who would fight till they collapsed, and then their bodies would continue on without their souls. Yes, I'm sure you encountered some of my handiwork before. I was a fool. A young, shallow fool. Overwhelmed by the success and attention of my family and mentors. By the time I realized what my work had really been used for, it was too late. I tried to stop it, tried to make the sorcerer see reason, begged the king to listen, but to no avail. I was a brilliant but now irrelevant little girl, and I had played directly into their hands. I couldn't stay. I couldn't bear to see the faces of the wives and children of the men I had wronged. I couldn't go back to my family, so I chose the only path left to me. I burned my research, my notes and my journals. I destroyed all trace of our work and left in the dead of night. I worried that they might come after me, either to force me back into that wicked work or silence me altogether. So I disguised myself the only way I knew how. I'm afraid my magic is not the type to create illusions. But there are ways to manipulate appearance if one truly understands the essence of life that flows through us. Ah, my apologies. I'm getting technical. You never did like to listen to my theory work. Simply put, young hero, I aged myself. I gave away 10 years of my life. I became a new person, or as best as I could, and I fled that country. How old was I when I left? No more than 18, though I looked much older. But that was many years ago now. In a way, it seems fitting. I stole so many years of life and joy from so many. It's only right I give up a few years of my own. No, dear. Not even I can turn back time. Only push it forward. And that is not something I ever wish to do to anyone else ever again. But I digress. I ran, you see, because I couldn't stop the sorcerer from recreating much of our work, but it would never be as strong as when we worked together. Never again would he wield our collective power. I wandered for years, helping where I could until I came to rest here. And here I make amends for my crimes, and live as good a life as I can manage. So you see, I cannot join you. I myself am not immune to corruption, and while you may believe using such dark magic is justified by the means, I do not. In my time on this planet, I have learned that you always have the choice to do the right thing. But there is also the choice to do things the right way, and only you can decide that. But no, you will live with the consequences of that decision for the rest of your life. Oh, I can't tell you what to do, young hero. I can only hope you learn from my foolishness, learn from the monstrous mistakes. Oh. You don't think I'm a monster, that's... I suppose that's not quite what I meant, but... What? What do you mean I don't deserve to be punished? Were you not listening? I was instrumental in destroying the lives of countless men and women. I've done enough harm for several lifetimes. Well, what would you have me do, Captain? Change the past? You would have me change the future. If I were to follow you back, I suppose I could make amends for the mistakes of my youth. But I am not willing to delve back into the darkness of my former practice. You are reconsidering your other options as far as how to destroy your enemy. By all means, Captain, reconsider them. If I have learned nothing else about you, it is that you are stubborn. You'll find a way. Just because the right solution to the problem hasn't appeared to you doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You are also, if I may say, very wise to be willing to learn from mistakes, even if they are not your own. You'll make enough of your own in the future, I have no doubt. Are you pouting? Honestly, after all this and one tiny joke has you upset? Shameful, Captain. No. I'm afraid there isn't much more to say. Although I am truly glad we can part on good terms once more. And you are welcome to stay the night if you... Oh, I see. Oh, yes. Yes, of course, you must return to your men. I understand. I wish you all the best. I truly do. Goodbye, young hero. Captain? Wait. Perhaps I was wrong. If I just now was able to convince you not to do something incredibly foolish, perhaps I may be able to do some good after all. If the offer still stands, I would like to go with you, but I would like to go as a healer, a consultant, if you will, not a bringer of darkness and pain, but if I can help in the right way. What made me change my mind? I don't want to hide anymore. As much as I hate to admit it, you were right. I can't change the past. But I need to at least try to change the future. It's time for me to wake up. It's time for me to heal.